All right, welcome everyone and thanks for joining. So today we have the BiTS seminar for July, and we have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Joseph Liu, who's an associate professor from Monash University to give a talk about his research. So Joseph he got his PhD from the Chinese University of Hong Kong in 2004. His research areas include cybersecurity, blockchain, and applied cryptography. He has more than 10,000 citations, and his H index is 60, with more than 200 publications in top venues such as Crypto, NDSS, Infocom, and many others. He's currently leading the Monash Cybersecurity Discipline Group, and he's established the Monash Blockchain Technology Center in 2019 and serves as the founding director. So he has many research achievements, including linkable ring signatures, signatures for the theory basis of Monero, one of the largest cryptocurrencies in the world, with current market capitalization more than $6 billion. He's also received the prestigious ICT Researcher of the Year 2018 award by the Australian Computer Society. And he's the IEEE Distinguished Lecturer in 2021 for the topic of blockchain and supply chain. So with all these impressive achievements, I'd like to welcome Dr. Joseph Liu for the talk. Thanks a lot.
Welcome everyone, and today I'm very happy to fly to Brisbane in person, not just Zoom through my computer, and to deliver the physical talk. So I'm very happy to come here, and my topic today actually is about two things of cryptography and blockchain. And for myself, many years ago, I was a cryptographist. Of course, my basic research about applied cryptography, and now when blockchain comes to draw into my attention, and try to merge these two together. And so today I give you a more interesting the intersection between the cryptography and blockchain. Okay, first of all, just to give you some basic introduction about the cryptographic techniques and also the primitives, and how to integrate this primitive into the blockchain to produce more functions in the blockchain system. And also I will describe some of our the recent works and also the future works in this area. Now, intro to crypto, I think this is very basic to, I think all of you, when you study security, no matter which area of security, you should understand the basic crypto. But for the other people, especially the industry people, I tell them the cryptography, they may just think of it is about encryption. This is the most easiest word of cryptography, that is encryption. But of course, we understand that it's not just encryption. There are many things related to cryptography. And for us, of course, encryption is part of the cryptography, but more importantly is the digital signature, especially in blockchain. Digital signature is one of the key core technology. But of course, not just digital signature, but there are more cryptographic primitives. I will give it in the talk later. And access control is another thing, but this is also for many the people outside our research community. We tell them, well, when you type the password, this is also about cryptography. Now, but in blockchain, the most important cryptographic primitives, I would say, is the hash function. Now, the hash function, of course, I think I can just skip it because everyone knows what is a hash function. Here is a one-way function, a collision resistant, and difficult to find two values such that the hash values are the same. Because of this interesting property, well, congratulations, you know what is cryptography in blockchain, or the basic version, of course. Now, but how about the exact the cryptographic part or the cryptographic primitives that we are going to use in blockchain? Is it any encryption or signatures or any access control? So let's take a look here. Now, of course, digital signature is the core or the most important primitive in blockchain. Say This is just a very simple example. If you want to send 1 Bitcoin to Bob, and then you put the transaction information record in the blockchain ledger, but of course you need to sign it. And this is, so therefore the blockchain, sometimes you also call it distributed ledger. A ledger system, that means once you write the information, the data into it, you can't erase it, you can't modify it. And by signing this transaction, so everyone knows that, well, the in Alice wallet, the amount of Alice wallet was deducted by 1, and the amount of the wallet in Bob's was increased by 1, because this is a transaction and signed by Alice. On blockchain, because of using the hash function, I think everyone knows that it cannot be reverted. If you try to modify some of the transaction previously, and the hash value is different, and therefore the verification cannot go through. So the hash function, in fact, it provides a security to the features of blockchain, that the transaction cannot be modified, the data cannot be modified and deleted. So there are the security, the normal security guarantee in here, say immutable, no double spend and no overspend. These two are also important in addition to the first one. So the Bitcoin, for example, this is just a digital information, some binary string. Of course, you can copy and paste into another wallet. So there are some mechanisms here in the consensus to prevent anyone to double spend. So in Bitcoin, the first blockchain system, they use a proof of work, but of course there are some other more the updated consensus, such as proof of stake, to provide this security, the no overspend security. And so for the first blockchain, that is Bitcoin, of course they relied on the digital signature and hash function. So this is the first generation of blockchain system. But other than that, of course, there are more advanced blockchain system, and there are more advanced functions on blockchain. And we cannot just rely on the normal digital signature and hash function to generate or to give these advanced functions. One of the important issues is the privacy. Now, by default, all the data, when the data has been written into the blockchain, everyone can read it, can see it, although of course no one can erase it. But it is not good for many times. For example, in the transaction, in the normal transaction, say I don't want everyone knows that I have 100 Bitcoins, for example, because this is a kind of some private information, and especially for the financial data. So people want to keep it as a kind of secret or privacy. So how can provide the privacy in blockchain? And by default, actually there's no privacy, just the shadow norm. Well, some people saying that the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency provide a kind of anonymous transaction. Well, it is not true, because what they provide is just a shadow norm. The shadow norm can easily link with your identity, your public key from the exchange, from any other channels. So the shadow norm, in fact, is not a true anonymity. So how to protect the users or even the data privacy in blockchain is an interesting topic. So what we can do? When we talk about the privacy in other scenarios, usually the people will say we can encrypt the data. When we encrypt the data, well, the ciphertext is the hackers, even the hackers, without knowing the decryption key, they don't know the plain text, they don't know the original message. So it seems encryption may work in many other cases to protect the data privacy or maybe the user privacy. But unfortunately, in blockchain, the encryption does not work. Now, the reason is, well, if you encrypt, for example, your wallet, yeah, it can prevent anyone to use your Bitcoin because you encrypt it and without knowing the decryption key. Of course, no one can decrypt the wallet. The wallet is locked here, and therefore, well, the hacker cannot use your Bitcoin, cannot spend your Bitcoin. But this is true. This is a good protection. But if you try to use it, of course, you still need to decrypt it and then you spend it the normal way. So I would say the encryption can prevent the hacker to know, to use your Bitcoin, to use your money in your wallet, but it cannot prevent the hackers or any other people to know how rich you are. Because when you use the Bitcoin, you still need to decrypt it and spend it in a normal way. So encryption, in one sense, yes, it can protect the maybe the security of your wallet. The hacker cannot use your Bitcoin in the wallet, but it cannot prevent anyone to know how many Bitcoins or how many the cryptocurrencies you have, or even for each transaction, how many Bitcoins is it within one transaction. So encryption here actually cannot provide the privacy that we want to have. So what should we do? There's an interesting concept called primitive called ring signature. Now, so what is a ring signature? The ring signature is a kind of anonymous group signature. That means anyone can sign on behalf of the whole group, for example, all the people here in this room. And the outsider or the verifier only knows that this signature is generated by one of the people in this group. But no one can find out or compute who the actual guy, the signer is. The only information that the verifier knows is the signer is one of the users within this group, and that's it. And for the first ring signature, it is even very powerful. Even all the secret keys of everyone has been exposed to the verifiers, to the hackers, to whatever any person still cannot find it out. So it is a kind of unconditional anonymity for the first ring signature. Now, this is a kind of very, very good primitive that the blockchain system can use. The reason is for the kind of the ring signature, we don't need to have any setup process. Very similar to the blockchain system. In blockchain, there's no trusted party, and then this is the nice thing of blockchain. There's no centralized party, no authority. Similar here in ring signature. How can I, for example, generate a ring signature? What I need to know is just the public keys of other people in the group. There's no group manager, there's no trusted authority, there's no other manager required or existed. I just need to know the public keys of all other people, and then using my own secret key, I can generate a ring signature. In fact, this notion was first proposed in 2001 by Vivek Shamia and Talman, that is the RSA, the first two guys in RSA. But they in the paper they call it, the title is called "How to Leak a Secret," because they imagine this the situation, the application of ring signature is, well, suppose I'm the one of the member of the parliament, and I got some important information, say announced by, say, for example, by the PM, and then, but because of the rule of the parliament, I can't tell the journalists, I can't tell the people outside. So what should I do to leak this secret? Well, okay, you can maybe do a recording and then send the record to the journalists by email or something. But of course, the journalists know it is you. And if this information happens, for example, if anyone find out it is me to leak the secret, of course I will be punished because I violate the rule. Now, how about if I just send the anonymous, send it through an anonymous email or anonymous mail to a journalist? Well, that may not a good idea, because actually everyone can send this anonymous email to the journalist. So the journalist is not convinced that it is leaked by one of the members in the parliament. So they described this kind of situation as how to leak a secret, because by using ring signature, for example, I'm the guy to want to leak the secret. I just need to generate the ring signature by using the public keys of all members of the council and using my own secret key. And then the outsiders, the journalists, the verifiers, they will be convinced that this signature is generated by one of the users within a group that is within the parliament. So this was the original, the emergent scenario of the ring signature. But many years later, well, actually this concept, the people find it out, especially the Monero or the cryptocurrency Monero, they find it out, well, this is a very, very nice primitive, and they try to incorporate these into their cryptocurrency, in their blockchain system, to provide the user privacy and data privacy. But in fact, well, this is the more narrow things also related to my research. The reason is, well, the original ring signature, it is good, but it is not suitable to be used in cryptocurrency. The main reason is anyone, well, they can generate one ring signature or maybe two or even more ring signatures because of the anonymity features. So of course, no one knows who it is, but also no one knows whether, for example, two ring signatures, whether they are generated by the same signer twice or by two different signers. In the case of the cryptocurrency, this is a very, very important feature to distinguish between, say, two transactions, whether they are coming from the same signer, that means it is a double spend or maybe just copy and paste, or by two different signers. In that case, that is valid. But using the normal ring signature, well, yes, the anonymity of the signer can be protected, but no one can detect whether it is a double spend or by two signers, by two users. So the original ring signature doesn't work in the case of the cryptocurrency or the blockchain. So therefore, what they are going to looking for is actually my PhD thesis in 2004, so many years ago already. At that time, I proposed the notion of linkable ring signature. A linkable ring signature, the main difference between a normal ring signature and a linkable one is, in a linkable one, now given the linkable ring signatures, everyone can detect whether these two signatures are generated by the same signer twice or by two different signers. Yet the anonymity is still preserved. That means no one can still find it out who the signer is. With this property added to the normal ring signature, now it becomes a perfect tool for Monero to incorporate into their blockchain system to provide the user privacy and also the data privacy. Now, what they have incorporated is called the RingCT. But first of all, until this point, you may have a question. Well, okay, my PhD thesis is now used in Monero. Especially they made the citation to my PhD thesis, and Monero, of course, is currently I think it ran 26 or 27, with the market cap slightly reduced because of the drop of the prices, but still more than 2.5 billion. And but they haven't sent anything to me. They haven't sent any acknowledgement, no thank you, of course, no money. So I'm not rich because I haven't got anything from Monero. But at least I'm also happy that my research in my PhD in 2004, that it's not just a paper published. Actually, that the paper is published also in ACISP. The time I went to Australia for the first time to attend a conference, ACISP in Sydney, and I know that my research, well, it's not just a paper published, but also it has some commercialized value, commercial value used in some commercial product. And the market cap is 2.5 billion. So at least I know, well, my research contains some practical value. This is good to me, although I got no money. But of course, if they can give me more Monero, more cryptocurrency, I will be more happier. In fact, let me close this. Sorry. Sorry. Thank you. Now, in fact, they do not just simply use my ring signature, but in fact, they make it a very clever way. They call the RingCT ring confidential transaction. They use the linkable signature together with some zero knowledge and then a commitment to give it called the ring confidential transaction to generate or to protect two privacy. One is the user privacy, of course. The identity is hidden by using the properties of ring signature. And then the second is the transaction amount is also hidden. The transaction amount is hidden using the commitment, the homomorphic commitment. So they provide two privacies and they call it RingCT, a ring confidential transaction. But the interesting thing is, when I take a look on the first generation RingCT, I think they published on 2015 or 14 or 15. I'm quite surprised that they just make use of the first generation of the linkable ring signature. That is, they use my paper published in 2004 to incorporate into their RingCT. And of course, in the past years from 2004 to 2014 or 15, I've also published several improvement of the ring signature papers. And the improvement comes from, for example, some are the threshold version, or the size is not linear. Because of the first version, the size is linear. That means if you want to include more people in the group, of course, you can increase the anonymity. But at the same time, comes with a cost. The cost is the transaction size. Because the signature size is linear, the transaction size, even the transaction fee is also linear. So it comes with a cost. So I'm quite surprised that why they don't use some of our improvements. Say, for example, later on we have some improvement to shorten the size. They didn't use it. Okay, and then I talked to my friends and also actually some of the collaborators. Now, how about let us improve it? So if they don't use my improved version, we make the new RingCT into a more advanced version. So we therefore come up with an idea to construct the RingCT 2.0. So what's happened? Well, this paper was published in Adaptor 2017. That's 5 years ago. But before the conference, of course, the paper is accepted, and we published on some I think ePrint or any other open forum. And surprisingly, what's happened after we put the paper online? Within 1 day or 2 days, the price of Monero increased 100%. If increased 100%, I regret I haven't bought any Monero before putting my paper online. And the reason is when I Google the price of Monero increment at that time, well, they mentioned that well, the Monero team, they had this is analysis report. The reporter saying that the Monero team create another new generation of RingCT, and therefore the people think this is very nice, and therefore they think the price will go up and then. But in fact, I'm not the Monero team. Again, they haven't contacted us. We are just the normal researchers to do some cryptographic research. But next time, maybe I should buy some cryptocurrency before putting the paper online for any improvement. But interesting to see, well, my paper, well, can generate the increment of the market capitalization around, I think, 300 or 400 million in a day. So this is another crazy thing that at that time, say, maybe I would say this is of course, the bubble of the cryptocurrency. The people are still very crazy at that time, 2017. So this is actually another evidence to show the impact of the in the blockchain market. I'm just a cryptographer. I'm just to figure out how to do the improvement in the cryptography part. I haven't even implemented in the paper. I just put it in the proposed algorithm in the paper. You can take a look later on in Adaptor 2017. We have no implementation, but just the protocol description. Even for that, it triggered the price to increase 100%. So it's very crazy at that time. But nowadays, I would say the market becomes more stable. So it's quite hard to happen, but at least at that time, it happens. And well, this is about the privacy, about the ring signature. And another thing that is very hot topic, we say in the recent 2 to 3 years, is the DeFi, decentralized finance. Well, for the DeFi, many people are talking about that, and then of course many cryptocurrencies using the DeFi, the price is also increased a lot because the people want to exchange the cryptocurrency without this centralized exchange. For example, the Binance or Huobi, these are the centralized exchange. There are several reasons that people want to move from decentralized to decentralized. Of course, they don't want to be charged by the transaction fee, or they feel it's not very secure to go through a centralized party. It seems somehow to violate the decentralization or the concept of blockchain. So they're trying to migrate into decentralized finance. a decentralized trading system or P2P trading system. This is good, but on the other side, there are still some technical challenges faced by the DeFi. So we can see the one of the challenges is this kind of atomic swap. Now, using this as an example, suppose Alice and Bob, they want to exchange their own cryptocurrency. Say Bob wants to send some Bitcoin BTC to Alex, and Alex wants to send some ETH Ethereum to Bitcoin to the Bob. Now, the theoretical, the idea, of course, it is very good. There's definitely decentralized exchange. No need to go through the decentralized exchange. But one of the question is, how can we guarantee the security? Now, suppose I am Bob. Of course, it's good for me to receive the ETH from Alice first before sending out my BTC, right? Because if I send Alice some BTC, but how about if she suddenly disappear offline, then I will lose many things. I will lose the ETH. On the same point of view, if I'm Alice, of course, I hope Bob can send me some BTC before I sending him the ETH. Well, if two parties, they also think in this way, there's no exchange at all because they want the opposite party to send him the money first. So what we can do is, if we can have a kind of atomic swap, then this issue will be resolved. Atomic swap means all or nothing. All or nothing means either or, that is all transactions happen, either both transactions happen or nothing. Nothing means none. That means if we can have this atomic swap, say if Bob sends some BTC to Alice, but if Alice disappear, then we can have a nothing. That means the first transaction can be reverted so that both parties can be protected. So of course, this is the ideal case to have the atomic swap. But the question is, if we want to have this atomic swap, we need something that is a kind of script, or maybe we call it a simplified smart contract. So you know what is a smart contract, but in Bitcoin, there's no smart contract. But at least Bitcoin can execute some of the script. So one of the script is called a hash time lock contract. Now this is a script that's very, very simple executable code. Well, that is allowed in Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin cannot execute all the other smart contracts different from Ethereum, but at least Bitcoin can execute a small part of script. One of the script that Bitcoin can execute is the hash time lock contract. With this hash time lock contract, now it can provide the atomic swap atomicity of the users for the exchanges, say between the users with different chains, the cross chain as well. Now this is a good, because blockchain is a script enabled blockchain. And also Bitcoin, of course, itself, the transaction is very slow. Say, I think it can only support up to 7 or 8, the transaction per second is very slow. So the people think about some alternative solutions. One of the alternative solutions is the payment channel or layer 2 transactions. Instead of making a transaction, all the transactions on the Bitcoin layer, on the Bitcoin chain, they have another side chain, a layer 2, the side chain to facilitate the transactions, and then to put the resulting amount into the Bitcoin. So this is called the layer 2 transaction. It is to increase the transaction speed for Bitcoin. Well, in this case, it also requires the hash time lock contract, because similar to the atomic swap case, they still want to have a kind of the fair exchange between the users. So it requires a script-enabled blockchain to execute the payment channel or layer 2 transaction. Then how about Monero? Now, Monero, of course, it provides privacy. It provides data user privacy. But another difference between Monero and Bitcoin is, well, it is scriptless. Scriptless, it cannot execute any script different from Bitcoin. So without the ability to execute a script, we cannot use the previous solution. We cannot use the hash time lock contract, And therefore, we cannot just create atomic swap or the layer 2 in Monero. So what we can do, we try to look at other primitives. One of the primitives called adapter signature. Now, adapter signature, it is very good for the scriptless blockchain. What is adapter signature? In simple words, adapter signatures is a kind of encrypted signature. Well, this is not a new concept. This concept has been proposed, I think, more than 15 years ago. But at that time, the people, they did not call it adapter signature, but called it encrypted or verified encrypted signature, something like that. But the concept is the same. It is a kind of encrypted signature. And usually, these signatures are engaged with two people. So for example, in the atomic swap, engaged with two people. And the purpose of having the adapter signature is to provide atomicity, that is all or nothing. Either the transactions, both transactions can go through so that the other party somehow they can decrypt the signature, or none. That means none transactions happened. So this is a perfect tool for the scriptless the blockchain because it can provide the atomicity. And interestingly, this is an old primitive proposed by the people, I think 15 or 18 years ago. But recently, the people found out this is very, very useful to provide atomicity in the scriptless blockchain system, including Monero or Zcash. And other good thing for these adapter signatures, there are lots of the construction based on Schnorr. The Schnorr signature is a very nice signature, I would say. Say Monero, they use a Schnorr signature, and for the Schnorr-based adapter signature, another good thing is it is compatible with Monero, because Monero, although it cannot execute a script, it still can verify a normal Schnorr signature. And for the Schnorr-based adapter signature, the verification is exactly the same as verify or normal Schnorr-based signature. That means Monero is compatible for the Schnorr-based adapter signature. And therefore, we can try to make use of the Schnorr-based adapter signature to create a payment channel or layer 2 channel or atomic swap for Monero. So this is what we have proposed very recently in this year, the Asia CCS. So we propose a variant called the consecutive adapter signature. Now, for the normal adapter signature, it's good, it can be used in Monero, but just for one payment. Of course, we want to have more payments between two parties. This is the reason why we established the payment channel or the layer 2 transaction. So, another naive solution or trivial solution, well, you can make use of the adapter signature every time and verify the signature. For example, if you have 100 transactions, you can verify the signature 100 times, but that is fine. That is a trivial solution, but it is not an efficient solution. So what we propose here is the consecutive adapter signature. So what is the main difference? The difference is, so we have the two adapter signatures, they are consecutive, means the second one, the witness or the secret, is generated from the first witness by a one-way function. So this makes the signatures, the second one and the third one and the fourth one, etc., consecutive, because the signature of the new generation, the new signature, the witness, is generated by the witness of the previous signatures by using a one-way function. But this is just a witness. Of course, the verifier, they don't know the witness. So we still need to have a property called publicly verifiable by using the public key or by using the public information only. The verifier can verify not just the validity of the normal signature, but also the consecutiveness of the next signature. That means the verifier can know whether the signer for the second one, the second signature, generates the witness according to the algorithm, that is using the described one-way function from the previous witness, by using only public information to verify this fact. Now, this is also the difficulties of constructing this signature, because both witnesses, of course, they are hidden, they are secret, and we can only verify by using the public information. So we make use of some zero knowledge proof technique to construct this consecutive adapter signature. By having this new primitive, the consecutive adapter signature, now it can help to build a layer 2 payment channel for Monero. But in fact, this is just, I would say, this is just a kind of intermediate solution. It's not an ideal solution. The main reason is we still require to have another smart contract enabled blockchain to do the kind of verification. As you know, we need to verify not just the adapter signature, but also the seal knowledge proof. And of course, Monero is not able to verify the seal knowledge proof. So what we can do is we use another smart contract enabled blockchain to do the verification of the Monero transaction. So we understand it is not an ideal solution because we need another smart contract enabled chain to do the verification. But at least it creates a kind of new insight to further research. So this is one of the new primitive that we just recently proposed in Asia CCS this year. Okay, another crypto primitive that people have interest is VRF, verifiable random function. Now this is very useful for proof of stake. Now because of the proof of work, everyone knows it is very slow, and also the people criticize its waste of electricity, waste of energy. So almost all new blockchain systems, they use proof of stake instead of proof of work. But proof of stake, one of the important security or function is they rely on a kind of the random number. Well, for example, using the algorithm, the blockchain, for example, they required to see say, who can generate the largest random number, then who can be the kind of the temporary leader for the next round. But the question is, well, the random number, how can it generate? Of course, generate from a seed. But from this seed, usually they generate through a pseudo random number generator or pseudo random function. But the question is how to verify whether each user generates this number according to the algorithm, according to this algorithm, or just because they know if I can generate a large number, a very large number, then I can be the leader for the next round. So maybe they just randomly or just pick a very large number instead of going through the algorithm described in this the random function or the hash function. So we need somehow some mechanism to verify that each user, they generate the random number, of course from the seed and maybe from the secret key according to the algorithm. So that's why we need to have this kind of verifiable random function. So everyone with the public information such as the public key and the proof, and this is the public key and this is the proof, and this is the user who generates the random number from his secret key and a seed. Well, from this public information, the one circled in red, the seed, the public key, PK, and the proof pi, and also the random number. So everyone can verify that or can convince that this user has generated this random number Y according to the algorithm by using this public information to verify. So this is called the verifiable random function. Again, it is not a new primitive. This primitive was proposed by, I think by Sylvia Micali, who is the owner, who is the founder for Algorand, for the Algorand blockchain. Of course, he's an MIT professor. He's also the winner for the Turing Award. In 1999, I think, he proposed this verifiable random function. Again, at that time, there was no blockchain, and then nobody knows what are the practical applications of that. But I think a few years ago, Sylvia Micali also created his own blockchain. Algorand is a very, very large system. Well, he made use of his own verifiable random function to create a very nice proof of stake. In fact, when you read his paper about verifiable random function, it is very easy to achieve. It's not difficult. They mentioned that any unique signature can become a verifiable random function automatically. So what is a unique signature? A unique signature means no one can produce two different signatures for the same message, and of course, using the same secret key. So for one single message, one secret key, everyone can only produce one unique signature. So just give you an example, the RSA signature. The RSA signature itself is a unique signature because with just one secret key, that is the value D, and also the message M, well, everyone can only produce one signature by using this message and secret key. But another signature, for example, Snore signature, because you need to generate a random number each time. And that means by using different random numbers, of course, the signatures will be different. So Snore signature is not a unique signature, but RSA signature is a unique signature. So actually, it's very simple. Just make use of this kind of unique signature, and you can turn it into a verifiable random function. No, so what is the point of doing research in this? Well, we can have a RSA signature. The point is how to convert into a quantum-safe blockchain, a post-quantum blockchain. Now, this is another very hot topic in the cryptography community, so to try to migrate the crypto system into the post-quantum one. And of course, the Snore, the discrete lot-based system, the RSA-based system, they are not quantum safe. So therefore, many people, they make use of other new techniques such as lattice-based cryptography. And you may heard the news that the recent NIST, the US, they have standardized several post-quantum algorithms. And most of the algorithms are from the lattice-based. But the question of here, this is a quantum attack, the quantum cryptography. So what I just want to mention is the difficulty to have a post-quantum verifiable random function is if we use the lattice-based signature, there are lots of lattice-based signatures, but all these lattice-based signatures, they are not unique signature. There are some randomness or some little bit error, so that makes the every signature generated by the same signer using the same secret key with the same message will be different. So by just using the lattice-based signature, it cannot create a verifiable random function. So what is our approach? Well, when you take a look on the least standardization or the post-quantum signatures, lattice-based, of course, this is a majority approach, but there's also another approach, is the hash-based. The hash-based signature, again, it is not a new thing. And I think even before the RSA invented the system, there's a hash-based signature, the Lamport signature, but they are just a one-time signature, using the hash function to create a one-time signature. And of course, later on, there are some multi-time hash-based signatures, including the Sphinx Plus, that is the one just been standardized by NIST. Another hash-based signature is called XMSS. XMSS is a kind of the multi-time signature. The good thing is it is very fast, but it needs to generate all the hash, the Markov trees. So therefore, it is and the people may prefer to use a Sphinx instead of XMSS. But in our case, also the XMSS, the main drawback is it is stable. The stable means you need to record a state every time, because when you understand the XMSS, just like a Markov tree, there are many leaf logs, and each leaf logs you can only use once. So after using the first leaf, you cannot use it again. You have to use the second and the third and the fourth. So that's why a state has to be recorded every time. That's why it's called stateful signature. But in blockchain, the stateful is not a big issue because we can just put the state into the blockchain. It's very easy. Well, just put it into blockchain, and then no one can modify, no one can erase it. And it doesn't matter whether this state is public or not, but just to a kind of place, a kind of location to record the state. So in a blockchain setting, state or stateful, stateless, it doesn't matter. So that's why we choose to use XMSS or to modify XMSS. This is a hash-based signature into verifiable random function. But by default, XMSS, it is a deterministic signature, but there's no randomness. But it is not a unique signature. The reason is, if this time I use the first leaf node to generate the signature, of course the signature will be this. But next time, if I use another leaf node, that means use another one-time signature to generate the signature for the same message, the signature will look different. So therefore, XMSS, by default, it is not a unique signature. So we need to somehow to use the property of blockchain to force the user to use the same leaf node to sign the same message. So this is the modification that we have made in the XMSS signature in order to convert into a verifiable random function for blockchain. And this paper has just been accepted by Azorix this year. And actually, it's in the first round, so not just the second round. The second round, I think the result is still pending. So this paper has been accepted by Azorix this year to be the first, I would say, practical, the verifiable random function in the post-quantum setting. Before that, our group, the people, we have some colleges doing the lattice-based cryptography research. They have also proposed a lattice-based verifiable random function. But that one, the lattice one, the life cycle is very short. I think they can just use several times and then they need to renew the key, renew the secret key and public key. So it's not very practical. But for this one, the lifetime cycle can be very, very long. But just try to turn around the parameters, the size and the size of the public key, the time for the generation, and also the lifetime. There are lots of parameters you can tune in XMSS, including, for example, the height of the tree and these kind of things. Just turn around and then you can have a very practical, verifiable random function in the post-quantum setting by using the hash-based signature. So some of my words and some of the words highlighted here say most of it previously is about the privacy, the RingCT 2.0, and we also have the 3.0. and ring signature as well. And the recent things, including the Asia CCS paper about the payment channel for scriptless blockchain and also the post-quantum things. And we also got some other extended word actually from the Asia CCS paper into the payment channel, the network. A context is a bundle of payment channel we bundle together, and that paper was just published or presented, I think, last 2 weeks in ICDCS in Italy, and another conference. My PhD student went to there to present a paper. So these are some of the works that we have done recently. All are in the crypto setting. Because I also, some of my students, we are also working on the cryptography part of the blockchain. And interestingly, I remember a few years ago, a student from other university, he asked me, well, he is doing cryptography in his master. He wants to, at that time, everyone wants to do the blockchain. And of course, he wants to do the blockchain. And he asked me the question, well, any other research in blockchain related to cryptography? It seems blockchain cryptography just contains a digital signature, the normal one, and a hash function. So there seems no more research in the crypto part in the blockchain. Then I told him there are lots of different interesting things that cryptography can play in the role in blockchain. But for some or for the majority of our new students doing the blockchain, I would say more than 80% of them, they want to stay away with cryptography. The main reason is maybe the starting curve or the learning curve is very straight. It's very hard for students without any, say, background, mathematics background or cryptographic background to learn cryptography, and in particular in blockchain. But on the other side, for example, they're doing a smart contract or maybe the consensus. Even if they don't have any background in the consensus, they can learn it much faster than learning the crypto things, especially the post-quantum, the lattice space. So in our case, only I think 20% of students, they are willing to learn the crypto and crypto in blockchain. And that's a good thing for these students, I would say. Actually, when you compare all the blockchain-related papers published in the top 4 security conference or free crypto, the top 4, CCS, NDSS, S&P, and also Usenet Security, maybe sometimes. Of course, there are some consensus, there are some smart contract, there are some crypto papers. It seems the number of different setters should be the same, but when you take a look on the number of submissions, you will see the difference. I would say if you submit the consensus paper, consensus type of paper in blockchain into this big 4, maybe the acceptance rate is less than 10% maybe. Because many people, they are doing consensus. They claim that we have a new consensus system, we have a new blockchain system which is better than the old one. Well, how how to convince the verifier that your blockchain system, your consensus is better than the others. It's very difficult. So you can see if you have a consensus paper, try to submit to the Big Four conference, very difficult to get accepted unless it is very excellent or maybe top 10, top 5%. But for the crypto, it's a different story because not many people, they are doing the crypto research in blockchain area. Of course, when compared to the consensus group, when compared to the smart contract group, so it's much easier, of course, relatively much easier to publish a crypto paper in the top conference, in the Core A or A-star conference. So this is a good thing to have in a crypto research in blockchain. And okay, I think this is the time is almost up, and thank you very much and welcome all the questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph, for a great talk. Very interesting work. And it's also interesting not to see only the research, but the impact that your work has had. Questions?
Thank you for the talk. So I have a question about adapter signatures, the consecutive adapter signatures. So how about the verification time? Verification time and the proof size, are they linear or are they constant size?
Oh, very good question. Actually, this is I forgot to mention. Actually, the proof size is constant, and the verification time is also constant. Now, because we use this kind of zero knowledge proof, so we can aggregate the proof and also the verification, because we just need to verify the last one, and the verification time is constant, and also the proof size is also constant. So,
okay. Do you have any idea to transform it into a post-quantum one?
That I would say quite hard to transform into post-quantum one, because itself, the zero knowledge proof itself is a very hard thing to do in the post-quantum. Usually we do it in the lattice space. But even for the normal RingCT, we tried very hard to do it in the lattice space. And of course, this is just a normal one. But for this special adapter signature, our group, I think some of my postdocs, they have a normal lattice space adapter signature, but not this the consecutive one. So the main difficulty, I would say, is still the zero knowledge proof one. In our zero knowledge proof, what we have used actually is quite complicated. Itself is a snore base, but we use the RSA system or the factorization problem to do this, because we want to, you need to know, you know that we need to compatible with the normal snore signature, but we need to construct a one-way function. So how to do this one-way function also verifiable by using public information? How can we convert a verifiable one-way function? So therefore, we make use of the RSA problem or the factorization problem. You know, if we do a modulus, a composite number, and the square is a one-way function.
Okay.
And
so,
then this is not the opposite way, but we can do somehow of verification by using that.
So just to be clear, so you use RSA like accumulator kind of verifiable
Yeah,
function.
similar to that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the great talk. My question is on the ring signature, and is there a recommendation for number of people in the ring? Is there like a committee as part of the ring signature scheme? Because I get the feeling that higher the number of nodes in the ring, the stronger the security.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, this is also a good question. In Monero, the minimum number is 15, only 15. Actually, it's a very small number, because they use my first generation linkable ring signature is linear. If they set it to say 100 or 1000, the size will be very, very large. So that's why they make a trade-off to set the minimum requirement to 15. But of course, if you want to have a larger anonymity, you can yourself set it a larger number. That is fine, but you have to pay more.
All right, all right. And my second question is on verifiable delay function. And there you mentioned that the XMSS scheme has number of tunable parameters that can allow you to adjust the complexity.
Yeah.
So now when you're talking about using this in a post-quantum setting, so how are you tuning it? Like, is there a reference? Like, what approach do you take to recommend a parameter that's complex enough for quantum setting?
Yeah, this is another good question for consideration. In fact, when you think about the blockchain setting, what we try to maximize is the storage or the one-time generation cost for the miners, because we suppose the miners are they have the very powerful computer, so they have a very large storage, and for the one-time generation, the setup time should be also they can afford a higher setup cost. So therefore, we will tune the parameter into, for example, it requires a large storage, but for the normal user, the time to generate signature is very fast, or the time to verify is very fast, but the storage is large, and also the setup cost is large, because that will be done by the miners. And we believe the miner, they should be able to have a large storage, but for the normal use, of course, they want to have a fast transaction. So we try to tune it into the practical setting.
All right. Thank you. My last question is on the lattice-based cryptography itself. I'm not a cryptographer myself, so could you please explain why post-quantum cryptography is, leveraging lattice-based schemes compared to other techniques? What's the special advantage of lattice schemes? This is just for my understanding. Thank you.
Actually, I'm also not a mathematician, but according to some of our colleagues who are more on the mathematics side, they told me that the lattice, it seems the quantum algorithm, by using the quantum computer, they can easily to factorize or to solve the discrete problem. But at this moment, there's no existing solution or algorithm to break this lattice problem. So, but it doesn't mean that it may be secure, maybe 10, 100 years later, we don't know. But at least at this moment, no one can develop a quantum algorithm to solve this lattice problem. So this is actually another good thing to use the hash-based signature, because if, so for example, one of these hash functions is broken in the past, for example, MD5 is broken, then we can just replace by another hash function, say the SHA-256 or maybe other functions, and the scheme is secure because it does not rely on the it only relies on the security of that particular hash function. So if it is not secure, replaced by another hash function, the scheme is secure. But for the lattice space, if sometimes maybe 10 years, 20 years, 50 years later, if one develop a quantum algorithm to break this lattice problem, the whole lattice-based cryptography is not secure, just like the RSA one.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions from the room?
It's okay, I'm very loud. It's fine.
Just for the Zoom.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that why you thought of choosing RSA instead of hashing algorithms as a base for your research? Because hash is lightweight. We always choose when we work on blockchain, we want to keep it light. So we choose hash-based algorithms rather than RSA. RSA is our last choice because it's heavy.
You mean the adaptor signature one?
Yes.
Yeah, the adaptor signature one, of course, hash is a kind of one-way function, and we can also do a proof for the hash, but and itself, it is post-quantum, but we need to look it into the circuit setting for the hash function if we want to do a proof of a hash function. Of course, it is possible, but actually at that time, we also look at that solution because it is most easiest construct the one-way function. But we think that the verification or the proof is very complicated. If we just use a hash function and then we want to do the proof for the hash function. So therefore, we want to construct an efficient verification algorithm for that consecutive adapter signature. And therefore, we turn to look at the RSA one, which gives an efficient implementation and also the efficient verification time.
All right, any questions from the Zoom participants?
I guess silence means there are no questions. So yeah, I'd like to thank you again, Joseph, for a great talk. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. Yeah, sure, sure.